Hi everyone, 79 Hurstol's guy here again. And today I am bringing you a 1 year only production, last of the line, Daisy, well, as you can see in the box, Magnum Powerline 41 CO2 pellet pistol. And what you see below is what this pistol was taken after, which was a Smith & Wesson. In this particular model is a 79G, and you can see this gun along with a 78G in another video of mine. So that's pretty simple to find. Daisy bought the rights, if you will, for the tooling and all the gun parts and all that went along with this particular gun line from Smith & Wesson, and I believe it was 1980. And they produced these, the Model 780 and 790 guns, it looks like from 1980 to about June of 82 from the information I've been able to kind of uncover. And then the Daisy Powerline was kind of the last hurrah, but, and it was the only chrome-plated gun that I'm aware of that Daisy made in a pistol, at least in their pistol anyway. But these, excuse me, don't have necessarily the quality of manufacture that the early guns do. And what Daisy kind of, they changed up several things, but in the first version here, everything is metal except for the grips. This one, however, has a plastic power knob, plastic rear sight, well, plastic grips, and then a plastic bolt and complete assembly here in the back, along with in the front here, which I'll show you in just a moment, the power valve, if you will, is a plastic assembly that's in there. And I would suggest that if you were to buy one of these guns or a 780, 790, and it has the plastic insert, don't mess with it. Don't adjust it in or out. Just leave it where it's at, because apparently they're easier to damage. Oh, and also I forgot one last other piece was actually the CO2 cap is plastic, and it's clearly not metal except for the little ring on it, versus this all nice metal one that Smith provided back when they first started manufacturing them. So as I mentioned, Smith & Wesson made their guns from 1970 to 1978, and they ceased production in 78, but they kept selling the guns until about 1980 when, as I mentioned, Daisy purchased everything from them and then started manufacturing the 780 and 7090 line. In the 7080 and 790 line, you'll actually still, they used parts from the Smith & Wesson guns, and you'll see serial numbers that are similar to Smith & Wesson versus what is used specifically on this particular gun as well. So as you can see, this one came with its box, and this is just a beautiful gun overall. And as I said, they're rare. You don't find them. That in the back. Came with its owner's manual and then its original string tag. What's interesting to me on the owner's manual is it's showing a Daisy model 790 pistol, and then they've obviously they've changed the wording here for the Powerline 41, but they used a previous pistol on it and didn't change it. I don't know if all the information inside this is actually the same as a 780, 790. They're more or less similar guns, but someone would have to kind of compare. This one, you know, the owner's warranty card, registration card was never sent in or anything, and it's really in nice condition overall. So I'll pull this gun up a little bit closer for you to look at. As I said there, it's a chrome finish, only one power level, so to push it back. In the early guns, this particular gun has actually got 2 power levels, and it has an adjustable trigger. Oh, and I should also point out this is plastic too. The trigger's plastic, but it's just a single, no adjustment there on the bottom of this trigger as what's there. I've resealed this gun, and it is firing. And this, the bolt action stuff is, because of the new Teflon seals, are very difficult, if you will, to actually pull out. They really seal well, but this is just, as you can see, just a plastic, kind of inexpensively made, in my opinion, bolt and mechanism. This is 177 caliber. Obviously Powerline on the side there. I'll show you the front of it here. This insert, there's a little pin which you can see right here at the front, so that knocks out, and this assembly will come out. And the power adjustment is right here, and hopefully you can see that. There's a little flathead screwdriver slot in there, and you can tighten it in or loosen it up. But as I said, I would not, I'm never going to adjust that, because if it's not broken already, there's a good chance that it could damage it. Plastic black grips. The serial number on this one is 3A as in Adam 00446, and my understanding of Daisy is that they would denote, the 3 would be, in this particular instance, would be the last year, so it would be 83. A would be the month, so that would be January, and then it would be essentially the gun number. So this was the 446th gun in January of 1983 to be produced. The interesting thing about this is there's not a lot of information on these guns, and manufacturer is unknown as to how many were actually produced. I have seen one where it was 3D and then number, but that's so far the highest month in production. They, I want to say I heard or saw it was somewhere around 1984 that these were actually said to be issued. But if that's the case, they were manufactured, if that's to be believed, in early 1983. Back in 1983, there was a Consumer Product Safety Commission recall notice for all of these guns, and that was issued back in December of 1983. So if the date here of manufacture was January of 83, then this gun obviously was earlier than that. And what they did is they recalled, there was approximately 200,000 guns that they listed, starting from the Smith & Wesson all the way through the Daisy 780, 790 series. I did find a recall details sheet about it, and what I found interesting is that these power lines are not mentioned in the recall at all. They mentioned 172,000 Smith & Wesson models, 78 and 79 Gs to be recalled, and then let's see here. Then there was approximately 25,500 Daisy Model 780 and 790s, and they denoted being manufactured from 1980 through June of 1982. And this, what they did is, if the recalls came in on the bottom of the gun, and it might be hard to see, they stamped it with a D, and that D would denote that the recall had been completed by the Daisy factory, and Daisy was handling all the recalls for all the guns. This particular gun on the bottom here does not have the D stamp here on the bottom, and this, I'm assuming, would have been sold in 1984 then, because unless it was purchased early in 1983 and then sent back and then had the recall completed, which was some kind of a drop issue. There was a safety that if the gun were to drop and apparently land evenly on the sights or something like that, or land with its back on there, it could discharge. But there was never, per the literature I've read, any actual account of that. There's no one came forward. It was just something I guess they discovered. So it was, as I said, this one had the quote recall, but if you find a Smith & Wesson or a Daisy 780 or 790 with that D stamped on the bottom, that was what it was for. It was for that 1983 safety recall, and then it was sent back to the customer after the recall was completed. So as I said, this was the last pistol in the line. They changed up down inside, and it's probably not going to be able to see in there, but the CO2 cartridge goes up and then essentially embeds and gets the piercing up there, and there's a little seal that probably is very difficult to see up there that it kind of goes into. And this, I have not put a CO2 cartridge into it, but it to see if it fires, and I don't know that I'm going to. I think I bought it as a collector's piece, and I think I'm just going to let it stay the way it is at this point in time. It's just too nice of a original gun. Here's the little plastic CO2 cartridge. There's a little, looks like someone's been in there using to spin it or tighten it or what have you. There's no weight to it. It's not, as I said, it's not exactly the high quality here that one would come to kind of expect, like from the Smith and such. So anyway, this just a very nice rare gun. If you run across one out there in the wild, hopefully this will help you figure out some of the information surrounding it. And they're, as I said, they're hard to find even pictures of out on the internet. The person that I bought this from, or at least someone that had it in connection with him, there is pictures of this exact gun, very detailed out there, because I have run across them. So anyway, thanks again for joining and taking a look at this. Really appreciate it when you guys stop by and do that. Have a good one.